I'm Kusha Karvandi, and you're listening to Exerscribe Radio, the source for biohacking your health to reach your full potential. I created Exerscribe to provide people with a roadmap to working out. With our new workout app, you can get a custom workout program that adapts your workouts to your body type, goals, sleep quality, stress levels, and personal preferences. With live chat support, our workout app has become so comprehensive some call it a personal trainer in your pocket. Our users are seeing over 90% success rates with their goals because we take the neural approach to fitness, meaning we integrate movements and exercises that recalibrate your brain and body to prime you for rapid strength gains and fat loss. Check out the Exerscribe workout app in the iTunes App Store today. In today's podcast, I interview functional training expert Juan Carlos Santana. JC has been referred to as the country's leading practitioner of functional fitness and personally trained and developed specific programs for all professional sports, youth fitness, fitness for the mature populations, and accelerated rehabilitation. His advanced understanding of biomechanics and conditioning have made him the go-to guy for those interested in reaching their optimal performance levels, from individuals to professional sports teams to Fortune 500 companies. His consulting clients and endorsement hail from the full spectrum of government agencies, educational institutions, college and professional sports teams, equipment manufacturers, and fitness facilities. Hey everyone, we're here on Exerscribe Radio with the founder of the Institute of Human Performance, Juan Carlos Santana. Welcome, JC.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, just to get started, could you tell the audience a little bit about you and your background?
Yes. My name is Juan Carlos Santana. I'm the CEO of the Institute of Human Performance. I've published over 70 DVDs and books, done over 300 seminars worldwide, and who knows how many articles, 250 articles. I've had the great pleasure and honor of training some of the elite individuals on the planet, from SEAL Team 6 all the way to Cirque du Soleil, FBI, CIA, Marines, Army, MMA fighters, you name it, they've been through IHP. So it's surreal sometimes as to the route that my career has taken me. I'm Cuban born, came to the United States when I was 7, and to think that a young Cuban boy many, many years ago in the United States was going to get to travel Russia and Thailand and Singapore and China and Argentina, Canada, and all these wonderful places in shorts, shorts and a shirt, not even a tie or a suit, it's quite amazing. And I've gotten the chance to meet some really, really wonderful people that have mentored me along the way, and they have set the path for all of us to walk in the footsteps of giants, So very, very fortunate. Been very involved with the NSCA for almost the last 20 years. Have held numerous offices, including the vice presidency, two-time board of directors, conference committee chair, and the state director. So been involved with the educational process. I'm getting my PhD. I'm on the lifelong path. So I think I'll be getting my PhD when my kids start attending college. I'm going to pull a Rodney Dangerfield on them, back to school. I'm going to attend the same classes they're attending just to spite them, So that's about it, in a nutshell. I like you and like everybody that's been in this field, I've always loved human movement, always loved athletics, was involved in athletes since, I was 6-7 years old with T-ball. I was never an elite athlete in terms of world class, but I got to the state and national level in 5 different sports and competed till I was 46. So I had a long, long, long athletic career, and during that time is not the level at which I competed, but who I trained with. And so, training with the likes of Jeff Munson, Rodney Ferguson, which are combat, icons, all of the guys from the American Top Team, Mike Flynn from the Baltimore Ravens, Qadri Ismail from the same team, and so on and so forth. Training pound per pound and set per set with some of the elite monsters. I didn't compete at the high level, but boy, did I train at the highest level. So I've got 2 artificial hips to show for it.
So who are some of these mentors that you said you had over the years?
Well, my wrestling coach, Andy Siegel, from when I was, back 14, 15 years of age, he kind of set the tone for discipline. Cuban, of course, I like rice and I liked all the starches. And when the first time he told me that I couldn't eat rice, that I was on a meat and vegetable diet, I'm going like, are you crazy? So he taught me the discipline of grinding multiple sessions a day and being basically overworked and underfed. Of course, my dad, he's my hero. So that's a big mentor of mine. But in the industry, Gary Gray, Vern Gambetta, Paul Chek, Michael Clark, Gray Cook, Mike Boyle, all these, some of them are more colleagues than mentors, but specifically Gary Gray stands out over all of them. Not that he's the most important, but he kind of caught me at the right time with the right topic and just blew me up. Stu McGill from the scientific community, Dr. Kramer, Dr. Stone, Dr. Fry, all those guys, Lee Brown from Fullerton. So, I have, like I said, I've had the chance to meet such wonderful, wonderful giants in the field that talked to me at the right time, had the right influence to make my career what it is today, So I'm very fortunate, like outliers. It's not only the willingness to work your 10,000 hours or your 10 years, but it's the luck that you have to be at the right place at the right time. So the 10 years means something, or the 10,000 hours means something,
Exactly.
So I'm an outlier because of the great people that were in my life at the right time.
And what was the topic? You said that Gary Gray came in at the right time.
Functional training. I've always been a martial artist, so I've been functional all my life since I was 8 years old. So I've always been, since you're kicking and you're doing all this Tai Chi and you're doing all these multi-level movements, and you're triplanar loading, because in order to punch, in order to defend, in order to attack, you have to learn how to use gravity, momentum, inertia, all that. You got to become familiar with all that. Those are your tools. So inevitably, I'm a functional monster. My DNA is functional. But then in the 70s, when I get involved in the weightlifting portion, what happens in the 70s? Well, the bodybuilding revolution with pumping iron in 1977, that's my high school graduation. So during the 73, 74, 75, that it's coming strong. Dave Draper, Franco Colombo, Corny, all these guys are just booming and booming and booming. And all of a sudden the movie comes out. So bodybuilding becomes cool and everybody takes off on the bodybuilding. And you got to remember, Nautilus and Universal are now just coming out in the late 60s, early 70s. So it coincides, again, outliers, it coincides. Machines are coming out, bodybuilders are getting bigger because of the machines, okay? And of course, the nutrition and, minimal steroids, because at that time it was just purely basically decadurabolin and dianabol, pills. They weren't even doing injectables at that time. They didn't even know about that stuff, basically. And a lot of lifting and a lot of eating and a lot of protein. So, of course, between the time that Nautilus and Universal comes out and the time that pumping iron explodes, you have all this beautiful stuff happening. Gold's Gym, World's Gym coming online. So all these things are generating, and we took off into the lifting. Gary Gray and Vern Gambetta always stood on the ground of function. They never got away. They never followed the bodybuilding culture. I did. I was very impressionable at the time. Luckily, I stayed competing in martial arts, in wrestling, in judo, in Muay Thai. So I always had to come back to function. So that was my luck. But those of us, those people that were not involved in the martial arts and took off into bodybuilding, some of them never came back. And they weren't part of that whole functional thing. Well, I combined both, but I didn't know I was combining both. And I compartmentalized everything. Well, martial arts training is over there. Speed, agility, quickness training is over there. And then, of course, you had all your sports-specific training, soccer and track and all that over there. And then you have what you do in the gym, right? Gary Gray is the guy who tells me, no, 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 no. All that other stuff belongs in the gym because all that other stuff is function. And the weight training is cool too if you need to change your morphology and for some general stuff, it's great. So Gary Gray was the first one that opened the door and said, no, 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 no. There's no rules here. It's all good. You just have to systemize it where it makes sense. Bam. Then functional training breaking the bonds of traditionalism came in the following year. And that was my flagship product that set me into the world of lectures and writing and authorship, you know?
That's awesome. It seems like functional training is a big buzzword lately, but some trainers seem to be taking it too far. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, all you got to do is go to YouTube, man. The functional patterns, Naudi, Aguilar, and some of the other people that are just, I mean, they've lost their minds. They've lost their minds, you know? And, you know, some Paul Chek added to that. Paul Chek is a brilliant guy, but, you know, he's a guy of extremes, and he's always on the envelope. And when you're on the envelope, half the stuff that you're pushing is going to end up being crazy. Mm-hmm. You don't know it's crazy because you're at the envelope.
Exactly.
You're cutting. You don't even know if you're cutting good or cutting bad. You're just at the edge there, you know? And it's people that come behind you that ones that sort it out. The people who are at the envelope, their job is just to shake the world up and drive into a direction that's never been driven into before. Usually they end up kind of like the crazies. Half their stuff is wrong. The other half is pioneering. You know, so Paul Chek, you know, stood on the ball and did, 135-pound squat on the stability ball. Then Mark Verstegen followed him, and he made the cover of the Smithsonian magazine back in 94, 95, you know, and I was going, you know, this is insane. I did a 300 exercise volume stability ball, 2-volume DVD, the first ones of its kind. And I never stood on the ball. And I could stand on the ball, but I never stood on the ball because I didn't want a young trainer that was impressionable trying to do that. And I just got into an argument with a buddy of mine that posted something like that in his site as a display of balance. I go, well, why didn't you put Cirque du Soleil? If you're really going to put a display of balance, don't put somebody on standing on top of a stability ball doing battling ropes. I go, number one, yeah, it's good. It's good for the average person, but a high-level balance athlete can do it. So it's not that crazy. You want crazy, you know, show Cirque du Soleil, a one-arm handstand on a head while the guy on the bottom is doing a 2-arm planche. You know, now that's insane stuff. If we're going to show insane stuff, let's show really insane. I said, what you're doing is you're showing an insane display of balance, but you don't have any disclaimers. Mm-hmm. Like, this is not functional training. This is insane stuff. Should not be tried. It just shows a big display of balance. You didn't say that, and you posted it on a website that is advertising an upcoming TV show where America's best trainer is going to be selected. So by implication and by association, you're saying this should be tried, or you're lending yourself to that. I said, I won't be any part of that. I told him I'm not going to be part of it. And wherever that shows up, I'm gonna come with 6 guns a-blazing. It's stupid. It's stupid. So some of these guys are just feeding off of very, very naive population that lives on YouTube and doesn't know the difference between good and bad.
Yeah.
So they go, wow, that's great. What do you mean it's great? It's going to hurt most people that try it and absolutely does nothing for it. Nothing for anything. So I go, okay, you have a great display of balance. And what does that mean? Does that mean that this guy can play better tennis? Does that mean this guy can pick up his children without back pain? Does that mean that this guy's going to win any competition in any sport? No, it means nothing. So what are you showing? You know, show a rainbow. It's a lot more miraculous and much more complex than this.
That's true.
So if you're just showing something for the sake of showing it, I didn't think you showed something that spectacular. Show a lunar eclipse, something that happens once every 134 years. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Instead of this monkey on top of a stability ball doing battle ropes. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. The whole idea of balance is crazy. We don't even know what balance does. We don't even know what it does. We don't even know what it does. We don't even know how it does it. So, but we do know that you don't need balance to bat. You don't need balance for a golf game. And you don't even need balance for surfing. Think of that one. You don't even need balance to ride a bike. You don't need balance to skate in terms of what you're doing in a gym. Of course you need balance, but that balance is learned when you're 2, 3, 4 years old. Or that balance is learned within the first 2 years of attempting a balance-dominated sport. Once that balance is acquired, you're done. Now it's time to apply forces. And you don't get applying force from a balanced state. Because balance teaches disassociation of the human body. The hips go to the right, the upper body has to go to the left to counterbalance and stay on the base of support. Well, when you bat, when you golf, when you punch, when you run, you need direct association between one joint and the other joint. So you need to cross forces across stiff bridges that are connected, not soft bridges that are disconnected.
That's so true.
It's crazy. It's insane. It's like specificity. I could have sworn I've read that was like the predominant principle of training. Specificity. So, standing on a stability ball has what to do with anything? Specific to what? It's not even specific to surfing. The feet are not in the right way. They're totally wrong. Weight distribution is totally wrong. And the force transfer is totally wrong. So I don't understand the concept. If, I'm a simple guy, specificity says you adapt like you train. Or the adaptations you get are very specific to the way you train. And you should train very close to what you want to do in real life because there's your transfer. Okay, what does standing on a stability ball have anything to do with anything?
Exactly.
Now, if you want to stand on one leg on a Bosu ball and you want to make an argument that you're running cross country or that you trail run and that you need this and you need that, you need volleyball and you play volleyball, beach volleyball, I'm going, all right. But let me ask you this. How much beach volleyball are you practicing on the sand? And do you really need more in the gym? You're spending an hour in the gym. You're spending 2 hours on the sand. Hello. If you're running trails every day, I don't need to stand you on a stability ball on a Bosu ball. I need to align a single leg, get you aligned, get your hip to stabilize, get your core to fire, get all that whole thing stiff, go from right leg to left arm really, really hard, and then give you the keys and let you take it for a test run. That's all I need to do.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's the whole craziness that we're seeing on functional training. It just has nothing to do with anything, and it's a bunch of sud and no beer.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And people can do it if people are drinking beer in a metal stein. My job is to pour the beer on a glass so they can see how much suds there is and how little beer there is. And I'm not even a beer drinker, but it's a great analogy, man. All of these people is just suds. and people on the internet buy it because there's suds in a metal stein. You can't see what's inside. It's a mystery. Our jobs as professionals, you with this show and me with whatever platform I have, is to, no, wait a minute, no. You want suds? Then let's put this thing in a glass mug, and so everybody can see how much beer there is and how much suds there is. Done. Now we're at a level playing field. People can make an informed decision there.
I like that. That's a good analogy. It's funny because
we'll have to drink beer to that one.
Yeah, that's right. I had this epiphany the other day. I was working out and I saw someone standing on a Bosu doing curls. Yeah, I think he had the Bosu dome side down. And it's interesting because a lot of people associate the Bosu ball or the Swiss ball with balance training, but your real balance system is your vestibular system, your inner ear. And in this guy's case, and I'm sure a lot of other people's case, when you stand on that Bosu ball, what happens? Well, your neck locks up. And when your neck is stiff, your head doesn't really have much movement. And if your head doesn't have much movement, you're not really stimulating that vestibular system. I mean, the guy was very, very rigid and he was very immobile. So it seemed counterintuitive. It almost seems like balance training really isn't balance training.
You know what? I mean, the vestibular system, number one, can be argued. Number one, the amount of stiffness of the neck could be argued. And I don't like to get into gray area arguments where somebody who likes to nitpick can kill me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if I was a researcher, or if I wanted to condone the thing, I would say, all right, so, well, you know, how much was the neck locked up? How do you know? And if it's locked up and the shoulders are moving, the head's still moving. And so the vestibular system can be, you know, they start with a yippity, yappara, papiti, yippity, yippity, and they kill you. Mm-hmm. And they kill you with the one research and the big afferent motor patterns. And, you know, they kill you with that. And I don't lend myself to that kind of argument, because it's like arguing Santa Claus with a 3-year-old. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go to the big logic. Okay, what is the exercise for? Exactly. I'm going to kill you there. I'm going to put the chair and let you stand on it. Then I'm going to give you a noose, put it around your neck. Then I'm going to point to a 2x4 so you can wrap that thing around, you know? I'm going to let you choke yourself. So I'm going, what's the exercise for? Sooner or later, somebody's going to say what? Core or balance? That's the only thing they can say. Okay, what are you trying to do to the core? Most people, A, don't know what the core really is. B, much less the functions of the core. And it's real simple. 2 functions, what are they? You know, maybe now many are going to the whole, I don't know, protection. And okay, so ask them, protection for what? And when? Do I need protection when I sleep? No, I'm laying down. So when do I need protection? And I can take them to the water. Well, I need well, now they get stuck. Mm-hmm. Well, you need protection for what? What do you need protection for? You need protection under high force generations, don't you? You need protection to walk around and breathe? Not much. You need more protection to walk around and breathe, or to pick up a kid? To pick up a kid. You need more protection to pick up a kid or pick up a sofa? Sofa. And now you need more protection to pick up a sofa or wrestle. And you can take them to the water. Mm-hmm. So when do we need protection? Under high force generations. What dumbbells are you using? 15s, 10s, because you can't use anything else. How much force is your core seeing? Does that mimic picking up a kid? Does that mimic clinching in a fight? Does that mimic anything? Even groceries with feet on the ground. Does that mimic that? No. So what are you doing?
Exactly.
Now I got him.
Yeah.
So it's protection and force transfer. When you're on an imbalance or unstable environment, you can't transfer forces. And if you can't transfer forces from hips to shoulders, you're not doing core training. Period. End of story. Rest my case. Goodbye. Conversation's over.
Exactly.
You know, as the little thing said, sit there and be wrong. Sit there in your wrongness and feel what it is to feel wrong, because you're done. There's no more if or buts about anything.
Exactly.
So you can't. And so you think, so balance. Okay, balance. What's balance? What's the difference between balance and stability? Now you got them. Most people can't answer that question.
That's right.
So balance is a stable state. Okay, manipulating forces to create a stable state. Okay, stability is the resistance against unwanted motion and a stable state, not creating, not manipulating. It's a stable state. Okay, so if I'm stable, am I balanced? By definition, I am. If I'm balanced, am I stable? By definition, you don't know. And by definition, usually not. So then I give them the pyramid. Is the pyramid stable on its base? Yeah. Can you do anything? Can you fire a cannon from that position? Absolutely. Anywhere on that pyramid. I can jump, I can put a cannon, I can build a house. Now take the same pyramid, balance it on its point. Can you do anything from there? You can't even stand somebody. You can't fire a cannon. You can't build a home. Why? Because it's balanced but not stable. Okay. Where do you want to bat from? Where do you want to play golf from? Where do you want to fight from? Where do you want to pick up your kids from?
Exactly.
Back to specificity, you kill them again. So they got nowhere to run. The only place they have to run is yippity yappity yip, some obscure research with some big words that they can use on YouTube when nobody can question them.
Because they don't know what they're talking about.
No, because as soon as somebody starts using 7-syllable words, you know that they can't train on the gym floor.
Exactly.
You got them. Because any good coach is going to use analogies like motorcycles, bicycles, and so on and so forth. And this is another thing that most people don't even everybody experiences it. Nobody realizes it. In sports and in life in general, physics takes care of most of the balance. Okay? The balance for an activity is learned during the skill-hungry years to the point where that skill is taken out of the equation because it's subcortical. So in other words, by the time a surfer is called a surfer, getting on a surfboard is not an issue. Getting on the surfboard is an issue for the person learning to surf. He's not a surfer. He's learning to surf. Once a person says, I'm a surfer, now it's negotiating certain waves. It's not getting on the board. It's can you negotiate short breakers, big waves, little waves, those types. Can you negotiate big waves with a little board and vice versa, small waves with a big board? Can you do tricks? That's different. And the determining factor on that is force generation. It ain't balance. But if you look at a hockey skater, a figure skater, they're on a little blade like this. So people go, wow, do you know the amount of balance? I go, yeah, it's about the same amount of balance that, Lance Armstrong needs to ride a bike. 0.
Exactly.
They learned that at 4 years of age. Never had to balance again. Now, is it easier to balance a bike really slow or standing still, or the faster you go? Anybody who's taught a little kid how to ride a bike knows that you got to push the little guy. You got to get him running, and then boom, because physics, centripetal force, gyrational forces, and tangential acceleration, all of these different physical qualities help to stabilize a moving object. That's why you can balance a ball as soon as you spin it. But if you don't spin that ball, you can't balance it on your finger. So physics takes so much of the balancing that when you look at a picture, you go, oh my God, but they're moving. And movement balances a moving object. That movement, the physics of movement, balances a moving object. Exactly. So again, you don't have to deal with balance in the gym. You deal with force transfers.
Yeah.
So once you start understanding those concepts, which are like, nobody's going to deny the basketball thing. Nobody's going to deny riding a bike. Nobody's going to deny any of that. Tell an elite surfer to balance his board, stand on his board and balance it in 3 feet of water with no waves, or in a pool. He can't do it.
Exactly.
Can't do it. Put him on a wave and watch what happens. Why? For the same reason that most people can't balance a bike standing still. But if you let them go at 3, 4, 5 miles an hour, voila, we got ignition. So those are the concepts of functional training that pretty much explain themselves and explain the insanity that's going on right now.
So what happened with Nowdy's YouTube video? And I saw kind of the string of stuff on Facebook, and it seems like he really likes to really have a one-sided opinion, and
he likes to pontificate.
Exactly. And he likes to bash the personal qualities, because I commented before. Exactly. I commented before.
Like I'm the establishment, right?
That's right. It seems like it's not just him though. It seems like there's a lot of people like him that they don't know what they're talking about, so they'll use a bunch of big words that their audience has no clue what he's saying, but they assume that it's sophisticated and that it makes sense, and they latch onto it and believe in it. And instead of having an educated debate and defending himself, He just attacks the individual. He'll say, "Oh, well, look at your posture." It's like that doesn't mean anything.
And have you seen his? And have you seen him do the explosive exercises that he's doing? I mean, if you look at alignment and all that stuff, if that's what you're looking at, look, I look at performance. I don't really care if you're aligned. If you're knocking people out, I want your hand raised at the end of the fight. I really don't care if you have one arm longer than the other, if you got a gnarly lordosis, as they call it. I don't really care. My athlete doesn't pay me to make him live to 80. Look, we already know elite athletes, the more elite the athlete, the shorter the lifespan. Usually that's a prevailing trend. And strength athletes are even the worst. Okay? Paul Anderson and Vasily Alexiev, all those people, they don't live to be 80 and 90 years old. They don't. Who lives to be 80 and 90? The yogis that do nothing. All they do is stretch, and they don't hurt their bodies, and they're built for that stretch. Because you take somebody that's not made for that stretch and you stretch them like that, you're going to kill them by the time they're 35. So exactly. Bottom line is the people who don't do much, they just walk, do a little stretching, those people live forever. Forever. And the people who are high performers, the higher the performance, the shorter the lifespan, and the less the quality of life that they have in their mature years. It is what it, look at me. No knees and 2 hip replacements. Why? Because I probably put 300 years worth of wear and tear on my body in the first 46. Hey, you fly with the Eagles, the crash is really hard. If you're down with the chickens, you ain't going to crash, brother. You ain't going to crash. You're just going to live a long life, but you're going to be down with the chickens. It's a trade-off, So all these people, number one, they're true YouTube or internet trainers. What does that mean? They have taken the internet and they know the marketing, and they have marketed themselves through the internet to gullible people. It is what it is. So what do? They eliminate all negative posts from their blogs, so their blogs read, "I love Naughty." You are the best. You are the best. So, after 36 or 40, you are the best. Who knows if he got 75, you're doing something that's dangerous, bro, and you're not a good representation of our industry. You're not going to see those. Because if he had those, he's not going to market very well, right?
Exactly.
So he removes all of those from the YouTubes and everything because I've already been on them. So what does he do? He blocks me. Have I blocked him from my social media? I don't even go on social media. My son does most of our social media. But every once in a while, if somebody does say something, my son will say, "Hey, Dad, you got to deal with this." Or my trainers will tell me, or somebody, "Hey, man, did you see this person? Or did you hear?" The way I found about Naughty, somebody sent me the link. I don't go out looking for. I don't have time to be an hour, half hour searching for stuff. Right now, I'm doing a certification, and I'm going through my book. So I have to go through my book, and I have to outline what the exam questions are going to be. I got to come up with 150 slides in 3 days. That's what I'm doing. I don't have time to be chasing these people.
Yeah.
But if somebody says something, or somebody says, "Hey, Carlos, I want your opinion on this," and I feel that the industry could be enhanced by a debate, I'll jump on it because I feel it's my responsibility. We don't have a policing body for our industry. So we have to police it. It's like the neighborhood watch to help the police. Well, we don't have the police. So imagine that. We have to even have a tighter neighborhood. But I never attack people personally. I never get into bad language. I had some people post some nasty stuff about Naughty, and I told them flat out, "Hey man, no, not anywhere that's associated with me. That's not the way we're rolling." And I'll remove any derogatory things. But he blocked me from his thing. I went in on everything I could find of this, and I posted. He blocked me, and then he removed. Okay, it is what it is. At least I can say that I did not stand still.
Exactly.
And watched it happen.
It's funny too because I had a similar experience with David Weck, the founder of the BOSU.
David Weck is a good buddy of mine.
He is.
When David Weck had the BOSU ball, which was a piece of plywood, a round piece of plywood, with a half of stability ball stapled and siliconed, Okay, Steve Cotter and I were the original ones that came up with the first exercises in San Diego when the Bosu ball was just in its pilot, if you will, stages.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Weck and I asked Steve Cotter and I just to go off because I had already done the stability ball. He goes, can you do some of the stuff on the stability ball, but safer here? I go, watch this. And Steve Cotter and I went nuts on this thing. Dave Weck is a good guy. I love Dave Weck. And I wish him the best. And he's had great success. But don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. I'm not standing on the Bosu ball. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I wanted you to know what the story was there.
Mm-hmm.
He's a buddy of mine. I love him.
Yeah.
But I'm going to call a spade, respectfully.
Exactly. Yeah, and I've gotten to know him pretty well because I'm here in San Diego. And the funny thing is that, another person I know, Dr. Cobb out of Z Health, he talks about how the brain doesn't like the Bosu. It doesn't like inflatable surfaces because it loses spatial awareness and kind of switches on that governor chip in the brain to shut down your strength. And I was asking Dave Weck about this at URSA. I was asking for his opinion on this, and he kind of took it like Nowdy, where he just, instead of giving me the science behind why that's wrong, he just started cussing at me and started freaking out and saying how he wanted to fight Dr. Cobb. So for me, the Bosu and stability training, I've gotten away from all that and lost all credibility for me, just because no one's been able to provide any support or justification why you should do it.
I don't even, you know what? I don't even care if the science does not support it. I don't even care because you're going to sell me something on science? Science is lagging 20 years behind. And because there's 10 scientific studies that have controlled one or two variables in an environment where 3,000 variables are alive, and you're going to tell me that you have conclusive answers because you control 2 of the 300 variables or 2 out of the 30 variables? Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
No, man. No, I'll respect somebody who makes their money in the gym. And if they don't get success, they lose their gym. You know what? I'll go to that guy. He won't give me the scientific jargon. He might not even give me an explanation why, but he'll say, you know what, man? I don't know why, but I can tell you that every time I do this, this happens. And every time I don't do it, it doesn't happen. And I've done it like 300 times. I'll believe that guy. Now, granted, I understand that there may be an association or a correlation relationship, and I'm educated enough to know the difference between causality and association, okay? But 300 times associated, and if I do everything the way he's doing it, well, we don't know if it's one exercise causing it or a combination of exercises or maybe even another exercise that he does in this group of exercises.
Mm-hmm.
But we know that this group does it.
Yeah.
We don't know which one or a combination. You know what? I want my guy to step into the ring ready. I want this person to rehab from their back, surgery in 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do the whole group. I'll go, Kusha, what's your protocol? Oh, these 5 exercises. Okay. 5 exercises, 3 times 10. Done. I'm not going to make it my life's mission to know if it's the first exercise, the second, the third, the fourth, or the fifth, or a combination of 3 and 5, 2 and 1, or it happens with 1 if the person has this issue, but 2, the second exercise is more effective for that other condition, and these 2 are more effective for this third condition. You know what? If you're a college professor and you want to do the research, have at it. Me, I'm doing Kusha's 5 exercises. Done. And I'm successful 90% of the time, and I don't know exactly why I'm successful. So do you want to get your A on your exam and not know which ones you missed? Or do you want to get a D and know exactly which ones you got right and which ones you missed? Which one do you want? Exactly. I want my A, man. I want my A. Exactly. Done. So, yeah, be wary about the science.
Yeah.
Because it's behind the cows. It's way back there. Way back there.
So where do you see the future of health and fitness going? Is it just going to be more and more functional training? Are we going to see integrated technologies? I mean, like, where is everything headed?
I think we're going to go to where I started, where I never left off, the hybrid. If you look at my functional training, video, you'll see that at the end we talk about the hybrid training system, the 3-tier integration system, how to combine functional with the more traditional stuff. Because you can't throw out the baby with the bathwater, for crying out loud. You can't say, well, let's do dumbbell presses on a stability ball, because we already know what happened to Rob Rogers' team of stability balls that were bursting. Well, guys were bench pressing with 70-pound dumbbells to the tune of broken ulnar and radiuses, broken orbital bones. And why do you get that? Because you're trying to cross bodybuilding and function. Don't cross them. It's oil and vinegar. Together, they make a great salad dressing, but they don't mix. Leave them alone. They don't mix. Okay? You want to get big? Dude, I don't even go with dumbbells. Why? Because you can't handle as much weight. Want to get big? Grab a dumbbell, as much weight as you can get, and bang the big volume. It's a go. It's a go. Okay? Now, you want to do a little bit more sculpting and this and that? Go to dumbbells. You want to do more movement? Go to function. And why can't you combine both? Why can't I be big with bodybuilding and functional with functional? Why can't I do that? Why do I have to, select a team, or why do I have to choose sides in a war? I don't want to have to choose between Michael Clark or Gray Cook and what's his name? The Canadian dude, Charles Poliquin. I don't have to I don't have to choose between both of them. I think they're both extremes, and I think if Charles's athletes were to need a lot of function, I think his people would look great getting their ass kicked. Likewise, I think if some of the more Gray Cook, Michael Clark, Gary Gray, who I know will recommend bodybuilding, but they're known as more of the pure functional guys. If they need to get somebody big to play in the NFL, I think they would be hard pressed. They wouldn't have the latest technology because it's not their thing. It's not their bag. So we need to make it your bag, to be very, very well versed with everything and say, okay, can I create a system where all of this can exist simultaneously? Like, for example, undulating strength and function. Instead of undulating periodization, well, what do you do in undulating periodization? You work on your strength, you work on your volume hypertrophy, and you work on your power all in the same week. So you work on all these variables concomitantly over a long time, and that's why you can have longer cycles, as opposed to your linear periodization where you got 4 or 5 of this, 4 or 5 of that, 4 or 5 of that, because if not, you end up like crushing yourself. Right? So the undulating now allows you to train longer cycles, because you're really improving all these things. You don't have to wait to power 10 weeks from now to start working on power and to start seeing power benefits. That's the benefit of undulating.
Exactly.
Well, undulating function and strength, same thing. Now you can have functional days and bodybuilding days, but I don't like that, because when you do bodybuilding, anytime you do strength work and bodybuilding, you're required to rest. So I like the hybrid, where I get to do my bodybuilding and my strength work, and I use the rest periods to tackle body areas functionally that I'm not working on that day. So when you look at the whole week, the chest gets its big bodybuilding day, and it's got its functional days on the other two. Legs get on Monday, they get a big wallop of bodybuilding and traditional boom. But on Monday, I'm kind of doing chest and back functionally. And on Friday, I can do that with a big back day, and I train the legs and chest functionally. So I'm undulating this thing while I'm doing a linear periodization model. So it becomes simple, but the way that we integrated everything to use traditional models where people can say, okay, there's the science. He does have the science in there, but wow, it was kind of the creative arrangement that we had that really, really makes it a very, very cool and effective system, you know?
Exactly.
So it's a lot of fun because we do a little bit of everything. I mean, we got the cart pushes, we have the sled pushes, and we have all this variability. So for example, how do you train an athlete like me who has 2 artificial hips and no knees? I mean, I can't lunge, I can't step up, it hurts like hell, but I need hips and legs. Now go figure. How do you train the legs without flexing the knees?
Mm-hmm.
I started pushing cars. And I go at 45 degrees, so I'm going, Jesus, I got the acceleration angle down. I got my ankle stiffness, which is the one thing everybody forgets in speed training.
Mm-hmm.
So you're creating all these big legs and asses and running the kids on sand, basically. You haven't done anything.
Yeah.
The first thing you should do is create a spring out of the ankle, so what little butt and thighs they do have can be used immediately. Right?
Exactly.
So it's just so simple. It's like everybody's concentrating on the tree right here, and they're missing the forest. So we have all of this variety of these cable RDLs that we can do to tackle the hips and hamstrings with minimal knee. And then you use the knee in order just maybe like a quarter knee flexion range, okay, but with a lot of glute and hams in the sled and car pushes.
Exactly.
So your knees don't hurt. What kills you on a car push? Well, it's the thighs, but before the thighs, the calves are the first ones to give out. So before you even get to my knees hurt, you got to get through the calves. And when you get into a 45-degree angle and you're just making these really short strides because you're pushing a navigator, it's almost no knee. You just got terminal knee extension. So you can do it with people with arthritic knees. You try to lunge those people or do step-ups with those people, I can't even do squats. But I can do good mornings, I can do deadlifts, and I can push the cars till the cows come home. So once you open yourself up like that, and you don't say no to nothing, and maybe to everything, your training becomes very effective. It becomes a lot of fun. You have this enormous diversity, okay, that you can draw from to overcome obstacles that floors most people, and you're like, that's easy fix. We can do that, and that. But because that was maybe considered traditional or maybe considered functional, the other side of the line would have never contemplated it. Oh, no. Can't do that because we need hypertrophy. Have you felt a quad pump or a leg pump when you push a navigator, around? It's about 170 steps.
Yeah, that's killer.
Oh my God, Pooch, man, come on. Are you kidding me? I've done squats, man, that don't pump me up like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mean to tell me there's not going to be no hypertrophy?
Yeah.
Come on.
Exactly. So just for our audience, what's one simple tip that you could leave them with that they could, take and implement in their workouts tomorrow to, obviously give them better health and fitness?
Well, philosophically is listen to everybody and don't believe anybody. That's number one. So for the future, when you're learning how to fish, that should be the preeminent principle. Hear everybody, including Carlos, and don't believe anybody, including Carlos. So that's number one. Number two, I would say quality. Forget about the volume, and you don't need 2 hours, and you don't need. It applies to the endurance stuff, which is what we're doing right now. More to the endurance, but also will apply to any kind of training. Get away from the junk mileage, the junk repetition. I'm just going to cycle 20 miles, or I'm just going to run 5 to shake the legs off to recover the leg. No, you don't. You want to recover the legs? Get a massage. Take a nap. That's recovery. Okay? So if you want to, something that you can implement, quality reps, you don't need that many. You don't need 2 hours in the gym. 40, 50 minutes in the gym should do it if you give yourself quality only. Quality only. For example, take pull-ups. I did a project with the bartenders up in New York.
Mm-hmm.
What did I notice when I was doing the bartenders thing so I could prepare for the video? Well, I'm doing pull-ups. So I don't do any pull-downs and I don't do any cables anymore, cable rowing. Now I'll take a pipe, put it upside down, and I'm doing my cables or my rowing that way.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of bent over cables, I'm now hanging from a bar. I pike up, and then I pull myself up like that in a pike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? What did I notice? Dude, I got strong in my forearms and arms. I mean, my body took on a different look. You know?
Mm-hmm.
More of a big gymnast. Shoulders capped out. It's like, wow, what is this? And I realized when I grab that bar, it's 230 on the bar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have no lead up sets. I don't have no pyramiding sets. It's 230. So I found out that 3 times 10 would hurt me because eventually they would hurt all the especially the elbow joints,
Mm-hmm.
But 10 times 3 did not hurt. And when I knew I could do 3, I did them better quality. I did them slower. You know, when you do pull-ups, if you're going to do 10, the first 7 are like really fast. You're not going full range of motion because you're trying to save yourself for the last 3
Mm-hmm.
that are really going to kick your butt.
Exactly.
Well, when you're doing 10 times 3 with quality, with the big loads, you get the same volume. You get 30, but it's 30 quality.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of 7, and then you have the last 3. So really, you did only 9 quality reps in 3 sets of 10 when you do them like normal people.
Exactly.
So quality. You're
it.
better off with 10 times 3 quality than 3 times 10, or 6 sets where the first one is 180, the second one is at 200, the last one is the third one is 220, and my last one is 230. Well, when I'm doing pull-ups, the first one's 230, second one's 230, boom, boom, boom. So I'm getting more quality.
Mm-hmm. Makes perfect sense.
So quality is key.
Awesome. Great podcast today. Thanks for being on the show today. Awesome information. Really, really blew me away today. And if you're ever out in San Diego, come see me. I'll probably make a trip out to Florida sometime and come see IHP.
Please, man, we got a lot. We got great mentorships. We have excellent certifications at www.ihpuniversity.com. If not, visit ihpfit.com. And if anybody wants to email me, I'm here on email anytime, jcs@ihpfit.com. I answer all my emails. Nobody answers them for me.
Awesome. Thank you again, JC.
Thank you for having me on your show. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Awesome. Talk to you soon. If you haven't already, get your custom workout program by downloading the Exerscribe app from the iTunes App Store today.